all a person's money is decided on Rosh Hashanah. I was told that this is with the exception of Shabbos and Yom Tov expenses, that gets paid directly from Hashem. Why? What's up with that? Okay, so there are some sources in Halacha, sources in Chazal, that say that there are expenses that Hashem says He'll take achrayus on. I've shared a number of times from Rebbitzin Dina Weinberg. I think Reb Noach Weinberg's Rebbitzin, I think that's her name. My mother would quote her that she would explain that expenses for Shabbos, Yom Tov, and Torah are paid for by Hashem, because the Shabbos is when we tell Hashem that He's the host of the world, and the host pays for the food. The host pays for the expenses. You don't send a bill afterwards after you invite somebody for Shabbos. So you tell Hashem you're the host. Hashem says, okay, I'm the host. I'll pay for it. Yom Tov is called a moed. It's a meeting with Hashem. Hashem asks Klal Yisrael to come for a meeting with Him. Spend time with Him. So you tell somebody for a meeting, you take care of them too. And for Torah, the reason why Hashem is responsible for all the Torah payments is that each one of us are made up from Hashem, a mother and a father. The part that we get from Hashem is the neshama, and any expenses that are needed for the neshama, Hashem is the parent that is responsible to pay for that. Right? The other parts of the education, the regular parents pay for, but the physical side of things, that comes from the bank account. Hashem says, I gave the neshama, I'm responsible to pay for whatever the neshama needs. And therefore, that was her approach as to the beauty of Shabbos, Yom Tov, and Torah. Now, I don't know where she sourced it from, but it is nice. It's a nice explanation. And when I was going through this, I found from my chabura when I got smicha in Eretz Yisrael, and Rabbi Yisrael Stillerman's chabura. So when I left, I have all the files of our sources and a lot of different questions that were sent in, and in the file that I was going through, I found that we had a question and answer paper that Rabbi Yosef Berkowitz, apparently Shlita, who apparently he was like the godfather of the Chabura, and they asked him some questions regarding this halacha of money spending on Shabbos. I wanted to share with you in this. I found this in my notes. I printed it out. The questions, answers that we have with him. It's quick questions, quick answers. I found them to be a very good chazara, a very good review. So once we're talking about this idea of Hashem spending money on of Hashem covering the expenses of Shabbos, some Q&A that was had with him. So the question was, what falls under the category of spending money for Shabbos? What type of expenses is considered that you could say Hashem's completely paying for it? You don't need to worry. And his answer was, anything you spend on Shabbos, Yom Tov, and Torah is absolutely free. Hashem will pay for it. What about expenses for Rosh Chodesh? Is that considered a holiday expense? He answered it's a machlokas. He wouldn't go overboard, but you should definitely try to honor the day. And he said that every Rosh Chodesh he would order pizza for his family. That was like the Rosh Chodesh treat that he would give. Is purchasing Sfarim included in the expenses of Torah that Hashem pays for? You want to buy a Sefer? Is that God's expense? So he said, yes, as long as you actually learn from it. What about a Siyum celebrating a completion of a book on Torah? He said, that's also included. Hashem's going to pay for it. Can I spend a lot? Like, can I cater for everybody? So he said, listen, if you're doing it for a Siyum, for example, for Kavod Torah, then you could invite more people, because again, you're making this expenses for Torah. But if you're just trying to throw a big party and look good, God's not covering that. What's the limit for spending on Shabbos and Yom Tov? The sky's the limit. What if I want to buy a rack of ribs? Is that also free? He said, listen, if it's normal for your family, ashrecha, if you're fortunate. Can I hire a private chef? guys were getting very excited now. Or what about a $1,000 bottle of wine? So he said, listen, it can't be weird. Okay? It has to be that if you had the money, you would pay for this. But it can't be like something that's out of the norm for you, for your family, for your society. When I buy something, does it specifically have to be L'Kavod Shabbos? He said, of course. He said one of the underlying prerequisites for all this is that you're buying it L'Kavod Shabbos. You're not buying it L'Kavod yourself. You're not buying it because you want to throw a party for your friends. This is being done strictly L'Kavod Shabbos. Anything you're buying, what he explained to us is that if you're buying something because it's to enhance your Shabbos experience, that's free. That's free. Hashem will pay for anything that you're doing to enhance Shabbos, not to enhance yourself. But if it's going to bring out the beauty of Shabbos, absolutely. If you don't care for Shabbos and you just want a free steak from God, then He's not paying for it. That's it. Okay. Do I need complete betachon to rely on this? No. You just have to believe Hashem will pay for it. What about a Malav Malka? Is that part of Shabbos expenses being free? Leave it to yeshiva guys. He said yes, Malav Malka is covered Shabbos. What about buying gifts for your wife for Yom Tif? Hashem's paying for it, he said. Absolutely. What if she'll wear it sometimes during the week? Or to a chasna? He said if you're buying it for Yom Tif, Hashem's paying for it. Rebbe, if there's $1,000 difference between two gifts, should there be any hesitation in buying the more expensive one if it's something that falls within an amount I would usually spend? Right? But is it? He's like, I already told you, if you're buying for it for Shabbos and Yom Tov and it's not a weird expense for you, Hashem is paying for it. Is this all specifically for food or even other Yom Tov expenses like sukkah, like paying for the sukkah, the flowers, the tablecloths? It's also free. Is spending for Chol HaMoed included? Yes. Can I spend more on something if I can get it somewhere else for cheaper, but I'll have to work harder to get it? Like you have to look to buy it on sale for Hashem. You know? He wrote, don't be lazy, but you don't have to make yourself crazy. Okay. If someone has no savings and they spend a lot on Shabbos and they have no money to pay their bill and their credit card gets damaged, score gets damaged, can we call that free? So he wrote, I already told you, you can't be weird, can't do outside spending, but if you're not spending irresponsibly, Hashem will pay for it. But recognize that if you do it, it might come along with some headaches along the way. Where can we find sources for all this? In all the Rishonim and all the relevant Gemaras. Does Rebbe spend a lot on Shabbos? I spend a lot on flowers for my wife, and no decision regarding Shabbos in my home has anything to do with money. So that's his answer. We asked him, like, what does he spend on for Shabbos? He spends a lot on flowers, and the decisions regarding Shabbos don't revolve around money. That's the mind frame that he has. This was a fascinating, interesting Q&A that I found. I wanted to share. Yeah, go ahead.
So it sounds like Hidur Mitzvah, does that fall under the category outside of Shabbos, Yom Tov, Chol HaMoed, Malav Malka?
Well, Hidur Mitzvah, you don't really cover Shabbos and Yom Tov. You're beautifying the mitzvah, that's included. If that's your question, right? Anything you're doing, if you're beautifying the mitzvah, these specific mitzvahs, that's coming from Hashem's. Hashem says, I'm paying for it. It's not like, if you spend it right, you'll have the schar. Hashem, this is not part of a person's financial calculation. It's not part of the financial calculation when it's being done to cover Shabbos. Okay, so that was question number one of what's up with that.